Hello everyone, welcome to Seabourn Venture and welcome to Greenland. It's always exciting to travel in this part of the world, enjoying hikes, solo cruises, village visits, and everything Greenland has to offer. Welcome on board.
We have arrived in a land foraged by ice and fire. The latest volcanic eruption, which started August 22nd, provided a unique spectacle for inbound guests arriving at Keflavik Airport.
We are sailing in the Denmark Straits, which is renowned sometimes for this choppy weather. It's a real privilege to sail in these waters, and as a captain who spent many years up here, I'd never take it for granted. I wish you a very wonderful voyage with us, a great expedition experience with many seabourn moments to come. Thank you very much and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
After crossing from Iceland, we have arrived to the largest island on our planet, Greenland. And Greenland welcomes us with beautiful icebergs and fascinating landscape.
We finally approach the inlet into Greenland and the fjords, the Amasalik fjords, the Kulusuk. This is an amazing area, big glaciers coming down to the ocean. These glaciers give birth to big icebergs, which is now floating around us. We see these enormous, beautiful sculptures. We see lines on them. These lines are melting lines from the sea water, which is warmer than the ice. We do see a lot of different shapes on the icebergs. Some of them are grounded on the seabed floor. And we can imagine how they are living. They tell their own story. We do see blue lines inside of the big icebergs. These lines are remains of fresh water that has been refrozen into the cracks of the ice. We started in the morning, zodiacing the rain, and look how nice it ended in a beautiful landscape where we can see everything.
After being greeted by icebergs at the coast, we enjoy a visit to the largest town in East Greenland, Tasiilaq. Inhabited by Inuits, life is still all about hunting and fishing, living in harmony with nature. The town is filled with colorful houses, and sometimes the colors have a meaning. Police stations are green, hospitals and nursing homes are yellow, and grocery shops are red. The friendly people of Tasiilaq welcome us to their town and their land, Kallalit Nunat, the land of the Greenlanders.
Greenlandic dogs have a strong bond with their owner.
First of all, welcome. I hope you all can hear me. My name is Rasmus.
The Greenlandic dogs are working dogs, used to pull sleds in the long winters to facilitate hunting and fishing from the sea ice.
Yeah.
Due to their genetic isolation, it's a unique and pure breed, well adapted to cold climate with their thick double coat. Today, they represent the Inuit culture, and they are well loved for their incredible strength and stamina. Don't be fooled by these puppies' cute looks.
We enjoyed our first day in Greenland with an introduction to the nature of the island and the people that call it home. This is the beginning of our adventure.
Seabourn Venture is deep inside Skotundal Fjord, which is actually a waterway. We were treated with an amazing sunrise. We came in the northern fjord, spent the night very near this glacier. This morning we arranged a Sorde cruise just very close to this big glacier, this ice front called the terminus or the snout. Shrimp is a small glacier by Greenlandic standards. The ice travels deep within the Greenlandic ice sheets and it discharges into the ocean. Greenland is surrounded by hundreds of glaciers called outlet glaciers, bringing all this ice into lower elevations, discharging into the sea and producing icebergs. Maybe we get lucky and we see some calving where huge chunks of ice called seracs collapse into the water and produce icebergs, or we're simply amazed by the little bits of ice floating around in different shades of blue. It's been a great morning here with perfect weather and we all enjoyed it very much.
Welcome to Skjoldungen Fjord, an absolutely phenomenal place. It's a beautiful day here, even though it is raining. You know, we'd always like a little bit less rain and a little bit more sunshine maybe, some spots of light here and there, but when you've got this kind of subjects, you really don't need to worry about your compositions. It's amazing. We're here at the beginning of autumn. Everything's turning red, everything's turning orange, and some of this low foliage we can see, which is actually some of the smallest forest, I guess, in the world, is just perfect for taking those compositions with the beautiful glacial water in the background, these striking mountains with all the wispy clouds around it, and it's just a photographer's dream, to be honest. Tell they're really ripe because they just fall off. As we're walking through, there's all sorts beneath our feet. We've got crowberries, we've got what I call devil matchsticks, which are some very, very small fungi. And we've also got blueberries here as well as all the different plants, and it's absolutely amazing.
Here we are at the base of the Ceramic-Krialik Glacier. The nearly 2 billion year old gneiss is covered by this quite fractured glacier. here at the terminus. We can see through the crevasses into the deep blue color of this ancient ice that has been traveling for thousands of years. And what's amazing is if we were to climb this glacier, we would reach the Greenland ice sheet and we could walk on it for 2,000 kilometers. This massive ice sheet that covers 81% of Greenland, this is the very southern edge of it. And we are here to witness it breaking off and calving into the sea. We see beautiful waterfalls pouring out from underneath the ice. Flowing out from the underside of these glaciers is water filled with rock flour formed by the grinding of rock against rock on the underside of the glaciers, carrying that rock flour into the fjord below. After so much anticipation, we're seeing some calving of this ice tumbling into the fjord below it. The cascading ice that's calving off are a reminder of the cyclicity of water. After being sustained in a glacier for so long, it returns to the sea.
Kangikitsok was just the best ever landing. Even before the Zodiac got ashore, we were all just amazed at this incredible scenery. We'd been primed by our geologists about these crazy conical mollard type arrangements, which just made you want to climb them instantly. It had this weird prehistoric feel to it. It drew you into the landscape and you wanted to explore, and it felt like you were the only person on Earth. As we were wandering around in this amazing landscape, the light changed during the course of the morning and it made it look like a completely different place all over again. Watching the changes and the shapes, the shadows, the cloud, it was incredibly beautiful. This is why we go exploring to these remote places of the world, because you just can't see this anywhere else.
in Igaliko. This is one of the most important ruin sites in South Greenland. The archaeologists' finds are still pretty new. They're finding new ruin sites every season, every year. One of the rocks here were actually reused from the new generation of the Norsemen, which was Aug-Sept, who introduced modern farming agriculture here in South Greenland.
This was probably the most happening place in North Greenland at the time, because this was the center of North Greenland. This was the biggest, the richest farm. Traders would have come here first, because basically you had to pay homage and do business with the big man first. And this was also where the assembly met. Anyone who came here, especially if they stayed the winter, probably would have stayed for a year or two.
Today we are in Hvalsey in South Greenland, exploring the ruins from a Nordic settlement, including the magnificent church.
Well, this is one of the last remaining pieces of Norse presence in Greenland. This church is the most upstanding building that still remains. It was built about 1300 on the site of an earlier church and a prosperous farm in the area, and it is the site of the last known event in North Greenland.
The last thing we know about the people in South Greenland of the Norse origin was a wedding that took place in this church in September 1408. And that couple later moved to Iceland, and I have a strong bond to this church because I am their direct descendant of the 15th generation.
So there was a huge drive across the North Atlantic around 1300 to build bigger and better churches, and Hvalsey Church is evidence of that. It's probably built by English stonemasons who were brought in from England especially for this. The church bells that were here were probably made either in England or the Netherlands, and the stained glass came from somewhere in Europe. So a lot of time and effort went into building this. The roof itself was probably timber with turf, but we really don't know what it ultimately looked like. There was probably a simple bell tower outside, but again, we don't have any evidence remaining of that. This site is really special to me. I've studied it for years before I was ever able to visit. I've been coming here for 10 years, and every visit is incredibly special because to me this also represents the end, the disappearance of the Greenland Norse. The Inuit had stories about how the bells would still be ringing in the wind in empty fjords, but there was no one left to hear them.
Today we also have another chance to explore the underwater world here in Greenland. While the land on the shore can seem relatively barren, there is so much life once we get under the surface. The waters here are a thick green soup of plankton during the summer months, rich with jellyfish and ctenophores and other zooplankton. The ocean floor is covered with a very fine, very thick layer of silt brought down by the rivers and glaciers. That silt is studded with drop stones. That's rocks that have melted out of the icebergs, and they can provide a great habitat for a lot of animals that we find here, such as soft corals and sea stars. It's always a magic experience to explore this largely unknown world beneath the waves.
flying through the hills and valleys, the pilot pointing out everything along the way, up to the moment that we face the magnificent glacier. Landing on top of the glacier heralds a really awe-inspiring moment. We are actually standing at the edge of the Greenland ice sheet. This pockmarked landscape was definitely not what we expected. It's almost like you're stepping on a field of diamonds as it cracks and crunches under the feet.
Up north from here it's about 1,500 miles. And it can go up to 11 or 12,000 feet, so it's quite high.
And as we return to Qaqortoq, we get a new appreciation for how tiny we are compared to the grandeur that is Greenland.
Welcome to Bratteli. So this was a farm of Eric the Red. There's a statue up there, but that's not him. That's his son, Leif Erikson, another famous Viking. So you can walk around up there, just follow into the settlement. You'll find a church. To the right of the church, you have the ruins. Some of them have been reconstructed, so you can actually imagine and see how they lived or what it would look like, all right? if you are for a bit of a walk, you can actually circumnavigate the whole settlement and then at the end go through the houses.
We are in a cryolite mine that was operational until 1986. It was operated by an American company that was extracting it and exporting it for the processing of aluminum. Before this mineral was found, it was very expensive to extract aluminum from bauxite, the ore that aluminum is found in. It had to be heated to a very high temperature to separate the aluminum. At that time, before they could easily separate the aluminum, aluminum was the most expensive metal around, more expensive than gold. The Washington Monument in the United States, the very top of the pyramid is lined with aluminum, not gold. When they discovered that cryolite could be added to the smelting process, it became much cheaper to produce aluminum because they didn't have to raise it to such a high temperature. They could lower the temperature at which aluminum could be extracted, so it became much more affordable to produce aluminum.
This is one of my favorite hikes. A fair bit up on the mountain that we see on my left over here. There will be some waterfalls and some small river crossings along the way. I have seen polar foxes here and Arctic hares, and my father and I have gone ptarmigan hunting here as well. 10 years ago, before the road, you could also see caribou here. It is the biggest waterfall in the Nuuk area. Welcome to the viewpoint of the day, the height of this hike. This lake doesn't really have a name, but it's a really popular spot for locals to go and pick berries. I hope you got a good workout, sweat a little bit, and I hope you enjoyed it. So you've seen some of the nicer things, in my opinion, within hiking distance of Nuuk today.
To each of us on this journey, Greenland has touched us all in unique ways. A place of phenomenal beauty, a verdant ribbon surrounding an indomitable ice interior. Greenland, the land of Inuit, Thule, Norsemen, a place where history speaks of human strength, resilience, and a simple yet profound desire to survive and exist.
Beautiful.
Cold.
amongful diversity.
Green.
Rugged.
Phenomenal.
Beauty.
Silence.
Overwhelming.
Stunning.
Vast.
Greenland, an overpowering legacy of those who came before. Their lives etched into the very fabric of this rugged land.
Today we're here in Fjords, Eternity Fjord. What a fitting way to finish our Greenlandic trip. For us as humans, it's fitting because hikes were created here. Other than ships under sail, this is the purest form of exploration there is. Good weather, good conditions, fitting memories.
It's been my pleasure to be your captain for this voyage. Sailing in East and West Greenland always comes with its challenges with the unpredictable ice and weather. But together with my team, we've offered you the best experiences, I believe, with many Seabourn moments. Thank you for choosing Seabourn Venture, your home away from home.
How was it?